and welcome back to The Wrinkle. Things that are tough to talk about in the geriatrician's office. To make a diagnosis of dementia, it's a clinical diagnosis. So it's not like we have a positive blood test or a positive scan that shows something in particular that leads us to that diagnosis. What leads us to the diagnosis of dementia is the story about how the person is performing. And in order to come to that conclusion, we have to hear evidence that there are changes in performance. So we have to hear that there are shortcomings in how day-to-day life is being managed because of memory. So an example might be if somebody's missed an appointment, or if somebody has wandered, somebody who went out to buy milk and then didn't come back for 2 days. That has actually happened. And that's sort of evidence that there's a challenge going on with the brain, and along with other things that leads us to the diagnosis of dementia. But in the office, to point out that these things have happened in somebody who has a very poor short-term memory, it's like reliving that shock and that pain all over again. And so it's quite common that when we make that diagnosis and discuss it, and I do disclose the diagnosis to the person who's living with dementia, I think that that's an ethical thing to do. Oftentimes people will say, well, why are you saying that? What's the evidence for that? Where am I screwing up? Come on, tell me. And so that's really painful. I don't really want to sit there and give a person a list of how they've had these shortcomings. That's not something that's enjoyable, and it's not productive. It doesn't really move the conversation forward because the person has a short-term memory deficit, and it may be that within the space of that same 10-minute conversation, we would have to tell this story several times. So it does not help. Again, this kind of goes back to those changes in insight, or that anosognosia, where a person doesn't realize what they don't know. Going over that isn't productive. So when that kind of comes up, I usually just sort of sidestep it a little bit and try to move the conversation towards moving forward from where we are now. This is the diagnosis, but here are the things that you can do to help manage things and to stay well. And here are the things that I'm going to do, and this is our plan to move forward. Hey, it's Dr. Didyk checking in to see if you want more wrinkle. That didn't sound right. How about if you want more of the wrinkle? If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. There's a space below to leave comment, and you can always hit the little red rectangle to subscribe. There's lots more wrinkle over on Facebook as well at The Wrinkle too. Thanks so much for joining us here today, and I'll see you again soon on The Wrinkle.